Well, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it might be for you guys. I apologize. I feel a little bit under the weather. Got the good old fashioned COVID-19 here. But that's okay. We'll get through it. I do want to go over this presentation with you today about South Carolina's geography, a few basic features, and what will happen is once we're done, you'll also read the attached PDF that I've placed in Schoology, which I'll show you before we're done here. After you're done with that, you will label a Google slide, and I'll show you how to do that too. So let's get down with it. Here we go. So facts about the United States in general. Continental U.S. contains about 3.5 million square miles. There are 50 total states, including the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. About 6,000 miles of coastline, which of course we occupy this area over here, the East Coast on the Atlantic Ocean. Major mountain chains include the Appalachian Mountains that run right here along the East Coast, the Rocky Mountains that run from Mexico all the way up to Canada here, and of course the Cascades and the Sierra Nevadas on the West Coast. That's what makes it rain so much here in places like Oregon and Washington. All right, got a few major bodies of water to talk about. The Great Lakes, which are on our border with Canada, the St. Lawrence River, and the Mississippi River, which is one of the most important rivers. It follows right here and empties out into the Gulf of Mexico at Louisiana and Mississippi. All right, now, very important stuff. The 6 ecological or ecoregions of South Carolina. It's divided into these 6 geographical regions. 1, the coastal zone. The coastal zone is right here, essentially the beach line. So the beach line is essentially the coastal zone. Then we have the outer coastal plain, which is in this low country region here, just in from the beach. All right, nice flat land. That's why it's called the coastal plain. Then we have the intercoastal plain, which we live in. Okay, intercoastal plain still pretty flat. All right, a little bit more elevation than here in the outer coastal plain, but still flat. Then we have the Sandhill region that kind of runs in a band across our state right around Columbia. And if you notice, any of you who travel to Columbia often on Highway 378, you'll notice that hills start to pop up. And there's even a place where we go shopping called Sandhills. Well, it's named after the Sandhill region. Then we have the Piedmont here in this region, nice and hilly. A few small mountains starting to pick up, and you'll notice Piedmont. Pied is the Latin root word for foot, and then mont, of course, mountain. So foot mountains or little mountains, the little foothills. And then the Blue Ridge, in this very tip top of the state, right about here, are the Blue Ridge Mountains, legitimate mountains. So let's talk about the coastal zone real quick. It stretches along the Atlantic coast. It's about 185 miles long, and it reaches about 10 miles inwards towards the interior of our state. So basically, it's the beach, okay? It's the beach and a little ways inland. That's about it. It's divided into 3 sections. The Grand Strand, which is where you would think of Myrtle Beach. The Santee Delta, which is where the Santee River empties into the Atlantic Ocean near Georgetown. And then the Barrier Islands. The Barrier Islands are everything that you would think of south of Charleston to Savannah, Georgia, like near Edisto or Hilton Head. Now, the coastal plain is the largest landform region in the state. It's where we live, and it's divided into 2 sections. Got the outer coastal plain, which is about 30 to 50 miles wide. The rivers in this region rise and fall with the tide, and inland swamps and savannas, and this is where rice and indigo was grown during colonial era. Finally, we have the intercoastal plain, which is rich land for growing cotton. It's about 130 to 250 feet above sea level. For example, Sumter is about 175 feet above sea level. So we're right there happily in the middle of the coastal plain, intercoastal plain, and it contains Carolina bays and the richest soil in South Carolina. And we'll talk about Carolina bays more on another day. Now the Sandhills. This extends along the fall zone. The fall zone being the place where the water begins to fall and drop off. It's called that because it's a major shift in elevation. It contains red soil, clay, poor farmland, and a lot of sandy, loamy soil like you see here. Today it's covered with pine forest, fruit orchards grow successfully here, and it includes the Columbia area. All right, Piedmont, the foot mountains, right? Foot mountain means the foot of the mountains or the foothills. It contains nearly 1/3 of our state, has rapidly flowing rivers that have to come downhill, so they were good for hydroelectric factories. So, like the Catawba River has a factory on it that generates a large amount of electricity for the Rock Hill area. And last but not least, the beautiful Blue Ridge. Whitewater Falls there you see contains 500 square miles of the Blue Ridge Mountains near Greenville. The highest peak in South Carolina is there, and it's known as Sassafras Mountain. It also contains the highest waterfall east of the Mississippi River, known as Whitewater Falls. Got a beautiful photo of it there for you. I have a few major river systems here, 3 in particular. The Savannah, which is literally the border of South Carolina and Georgia. The river is actually our border. South Carolina is on the north side, Georgia's on the south side. You have the Santee River system, which we are very close to, and it actually makes up Lake Marion, also known as Santee, and the lower lake. You have the PD River system, northeast part of the state, near Florence. And the rivers in the upcountry are narrow and swift because you have a lot of elevation change. When you have water flowing from higher to lower rapidly, they tend to be a little bit thinner, flowing faster. At the fall zone, they become broad and carry rich soil deposits. That's because the land isn't changing elevation so quickly, and they just flow nice and slow and kind of get wide. Okay, our climate. We have a humid subtropical climate. As you can clearly tell right now, it's pretty hot outside, pretty humid. Long summers, temperatures close to 100 degrees, sometimes more. Mild winters with temperatures rarely reaching 0. Pretty rare. Normally we get to the teens, but not 0. Plenty of rain, mostly in February and July. We did have a rainy July. We've had a pretty rainy August. Hurricanes affect this area, and hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th through South Carolina, and sometimes gets them in May and December, but normally by November 30th we're out of the woods. The biggest hurricane that's hit South Carolina was Hurricane Hugo, and it came in September of 1989. And that's what we got for today, guys. Here's your references. Take a look at them if you'd like to. So what I need to do now, though, is show you how to do your ecoregion assignment. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull up your assignment, and you'll do this all through Schoology, but this is how it kind of works, right? You will do a text box. Okay? And I'm going to show you how to do one just for fun here. There we go. And then you can just grab this text box if it'll let me. It's arguing right this minute with me. There we go. See how I could put it on an ankle? And I can make it whatever size I want. Pretty easy to adjust. There we go. So I would just go ahead and give you this hint that the region you see here is the Blue Ridge Mountains. So you take that text box. All right, let's see if it'll play nicer with me if I click it that way. There we go. Doesn't want to. I think the reason it won't let me do it is because I'm in this video recording software right now. But needless to say, oh, there it goes. Now it works. There we go. So we know that that's the Blue Ridge. So let's label it as the Blue Ridge. Check this out. Just get on the little 4 square. Right there. And so on and so forth. So you would label the Blue Ridge, and you would need to label the Piedmont, the Sandhills, the inner coastal plain, the outer coastal plain, and the coastal zone. Once you've successfully labeled each one with in a nice approximate location, it does not have to be perfect. But I do expect you to get them up in the appropriate order from west to east. And there are plenty of examples, both on the reading that you're working on right now, as well as online. You can just pull them up, Google them. You can see these maps very clearly. And I've given them to you on Schoology. All right, and hopefully you'll be able to submit this bad boy nice and simply. So I'll show you what it looks like as a student. You'll come to the class. This is what it looks like for Miss Anderson. She can see the upcoming assignment. Click on this right here. It creates your own copy. Allows you to fill it out just the way you would want. I'll show you the readings that I would like you to do right here. Unit number 1, ecoregion. Look at that. All sorts of wonderful info for you. And most importantly, look at that. There's no excuse. You guys should be able to label that map very easily, very correctly. And you don't have to get all the little squigglies just right. Just put the words in the correct locations, okay? And you will be good to go. And that'll be your first classwork grade. And please do read this. I know it looks like a lot, but it'll only take you about 15, 20 minutes to read it because it will definitely tie in with our future class work that we're doing next week, okay? So hopefully that answers all your questions. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care and have a great day.